you can just join me over on the studio page. I'll take that down. So hopefully you're joining me over here at the studio page. This is our new moon ritual and yoga ceremony. The way it usually works is I will start with a little introduction, tell you about this new moon. Then we do a little bit of journaling to check in on our intentions, set new intentions for this cycle, and then we do a little guided meditation followed by some yoga, yoga asana. Today we'll be practicing restorative yoga to honor that dark, quiet, new moon energy. So, today's new moon is in Leo. And everyone thinks Leo is this like very bright, sunny personality, which is very true. Leo knows how to stand in the spotlight for sure. But according to my favorite astrologer, Leo is actually the second shyest sign of the zodiac, like second only to Taurus, apparently. So with that, you have to be able to see both sides of what Leo is and what Leo stands for. And Leo is really, really good at standing in the spotlight when it's their turn. But because of their shyness, they don't want to show up in places where where it's not their zone of genius. So today I want to focus on that zone of genius for myself and for you as well. And being comfortable in our own zone of genius, being confident, being loving from our zone of genius, but then not really going beyond, not trying to step outside of our own boundaries, knowing where our voice matters and where it doesn't. So that's kind of what we want to focus on for our intention and our path moving forward. So in connecting with this darker, quieter side of Leo, I have a few journal questions for you. So my first question is, make sure you have your pen and your journal nearby. We'll take a moment. I usually give like a minute or two here just to get your thoughts down, just whatever comes up for you. And then afterwards, we'll do a little meditation. So, what is your zone of genius? What is your zone of genius? Okay. So what is your zone of genius? Follow-up question to that is, how can you move forward within your zone of genius with love? How can you move forward within your zone of genius with love? With love, with confidence, with resilience and comfortability. So how can you move forward within that zone of genius with love and confidence? That's question number 2. And then my last question for you before we move into the meditation aspect of this ceremony is related to restoration of yourself. So it's really important during these times to stay grounded, especially during the new moon in Leo, as the momentum builds over the next couple weeks and we come into the full moon, double moon in fire, like it's going to be intense. It's really important that you stay grounded, stay nourished, and stay restored so that when it is time to show up, when it is time to step into that spotlight, you're able to do so with a fully charged battery, so to speak. So my last question for you is, what charges your batteries? How do you recharge? Is maybe a better way to say that. How do you recharge? So your 3 questions for today were, what is your zone of genius? How can you move forward within that zone of genius with love and confidence? And how do you recharge? Okay. Let's clear the air. We'll come find a comfortable seat. Getting ready for our meditation. Today's meditation is all about opening up to the new moon. So, today's meditation is all about inviting new beginnings into our lives. The darkness of the new moon creates space in the sky so that we can also create space within ourselves to achieve new manifestations. And in relation to this particular new moon in Leo, Leo likes to stand in the spotlight when it is Leo's turn to stand in the spotlight. But Leo also knows where the zone of genius lies. Leo can stand in the zone of genius when it is his or her time, but Leo also knows when to take time to restore, to renew, so that when it is time to show up, we can do so with fully charged batteries. We can open ourselves up to this restoration through meditation and through the repetition of affirmations. So what I'll do next is I will share some affirmations with you. And what I want you to do is just to repeat them silently to yourself. And when the meditation is over, you can go to your journal and maybe write down 2 or 3 of them that really stuck with you, that really resonated with you. That way you can come back to them throughout this moon cycle, and they can be used as inspiration and motivation for you to continue working within your zone of genius with love and confidence. At the beginning of the meditation, I'll ring a soft bell. And at the end, I will ring the bell again to know that the meditation has ended. When our meditation ends, we will move down to the yoga mat to do our restorative yoga sequence. So if you want, you can even start on your yoga mat right now in a comfortable cross-legged position, eyes closed, and hands in your lap. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in. Exhale, release the air. Take another deep breath, sit up taller, tilting the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, let the shoulders relax down from your ears, resting into a neutral yet awake posture. And when you're ready, we'll silently repeat these affirmations to ourselves. I see my goals clearly. I feel joy as if my goals are already manifested. I release what no longer serves me. I am open to my highest good. I invite clarity into my life. I break free of limitations. I attract new, healthy relationships and habits into my life. I send loving intentions to the universe. For what I share, I shall receive. I am on the edge of becoming. I am ready to grow into a higher version of myself. Take another deep breath in. Let the exhale keep you in that comfortable, relaxed, but also alert state. And we're just going to go through those one more time. I see my goals clearly. I feel joy as if my goals are already manifested. I release what no longer serves me. I am open to my highest good. I invite clarity into my life. I break free of limitations. I attract new, healthy relationships and habits into my life. I send loving intentions to the universe. For what I share, I shall receive. I am on the edge of becoming. I am ready to grow into a higher version of myself. I understand that part of growth requires darkness, requires change, requires restoration. And I honor that side of me that is willing to embrace the unknown, embrace the dark path ahead with hope for the light. Let's move down to our yoga mat. You'll need a pillow and a blanket for this practice. Also, if you have your journal handy, you can scribble down any more thoughts or affirmations that came to you during the meditation, things that resonated with you, anything that may have jogged your memory. Now is a good time to write all that down. And then when you're ready, we'll start in Supta Baddha Konasana. So for this one, you may or may not need your blanket, but you'll want your pillow to be vertical on the mat, long ways. You're going to sit so that your tailbone comes to the edge of the mat, the edge of the bolster. Feet together, knees apart. And then start to lower down. Though before you lower down, you might want to grab some more pillows. As this is a restorative posture, you don't want to be left hanging, in a sense. One of the things I learned from my restorative teacher training is that you never want your limbs or your body parts to just be suspended out in space. At least in a restorative yoga practice, you want to feel supported. So maybe bringing pillows underneath each of your knees so that they're not just hanging out in space, but they get this nice soft opening, inviting that yin aspect. So once you have your knees supported, let's lay on down over the top of the vertical pillow. Bring your hands either out to the sides, or you can bring one hand to your belly and one hand to the heart if you like that. Make sure your head is supported by the pillows too, and that you are completely comfortable. We'll stay here for a few moments, a few minutes. as we just kind of feel embraced by our pillows and by the floor beneath us. Reminding ourselves that when our mind wanders, not to follow it. The thoughts come into the mind as distractions, but you can watch them walk out of your brain just as quickly as they walked in. You don't have to give mind to every thought that enters your brain. It's okay to let some go sometimes. Make space for blankness. Make space for space. Feel grounded in your body, knowing that by being grounded, you are restoring your body. You're taking rest. You're taking refuge. You're taking comfort. And you're taking it all for yourself so that you can recharge your batteries. And when it is time for you to show up, when it is time for you to step into that spotlight, you can do so fully charged, full, ready, and bright. As you inhale, feel how the heart expands in this pose. As you exhale, feel how the space is created in the body. Take 5 more breaths in this pose. Slow, long, even inhales and exhales. Let's start to bring our knees back together. Gently roll off to one side to remove the pillow or the bolster. And lay back down. Windshield wipering your knees left and right. Left and right. Eventually bringing your arms up and out like a T. We'll lift the knees up to the chest and then over to the left, stacking the knees on top of one another. You can bring your gaze over to the right and then adjust subtly so that you can feel both shoulders on the mat. Even if it doesn't feel like a very intense twist, I encourage you to keep your legs stacked on top of each other rather than going into eagle legs like we're used to doing. Try to take the more subtle aspect of the posture. Don't always try to strive for the fullest extent. Sometimes it's nice to rest and not go all the way. Just try it. Bring your gaze back up to the ceiling. Bring your knees to the center. Bring your hands on top of the knees, and let's take a few circles here, drawing circles with the knees. A few times in one direction, and then going the other direction. Eventually letting the knees go to the right. Arms out like a T, and gaze goes over to the left. Adjusting the shoulders so you can feel both of them on the mat. Again, not forcing anything, not trying to get to the fullest extent of my twist. Maybe not taking eagle legs and just letting the knees stack on top of one another. But also notice if you're trying to hold the legs together. It's okay to let them go a little bit loose. Maybe they're not perfectly stacked on top of one another, but maybe just like a pile of legs to the right. As long as it feels comfortable. That's the most important thing. When you're ready, bring your gaze back to center. Move your knees to the center. And let's comfortably and carefully bring our hands down, push into the floor, and come for a quick hug around the knees. So wrap your arms around your knees, drop your forehead down to your knees, and stay here for 1, 2, maybe 3 breaths. And then slowly and carefully look up. Come to hands and knees. Setting up for our final pose, child's pose. So you can do child's pose with or without props. I'll give a few suggestions for props here since this is a restorative practice. One thing that you can do if you don't like your knees on the hard floor, you can lay your blanket out first, giving yourself a nice cushion, and then bringing the knees onto that nice padding. That can feel really comfortable. We're going to hold this pose for about 5 minutes, or 3 to 5 minutes. So let yourself really come into it and be really supported in it. And if you don't like your feet hanging off the edge of the blanket, you can make it even longer. You can turn it long ways. Set your blanket however you want so that your entire foundation is supported with that cushion. And then bring your bolster forward between the knees and possibly one of your pillows too. You can bring the pillow all the way up onto the lap, kind of snuggling it right into the hip area. And then slowly take an inhale, lengthen through that spine, and then exhale, start to walk the hands over the tops of your pillow fort. And because the pillows are here, you may not want to drop your head down. So I'll let you know when we're halfway through this pose so that you can turn your head the other way. But for now, just place one ear on the mat. Let your hands drop off the sides of the bolster. And just breathe here for a few breaths. Close your eyes. Maybe place the hands, palms down on the mat. This is one of the most ultimate poses for surrender. This body position is humble and it's offering, it's honoring, and it's surrendering. So let yourself embody the position with your mind and your body. But not just giving in, not just giving weight down to the ground, but also feeling supported by the ground beneath you. It's a totally copacetic relationship. What you give down to the earth is given back to you in a refreshed, renewed sense. It nourishes you to give way. When you're ready, you can tilt your head the other direction. We're halfway through this pose. And when you've done that, just let your neck be totally relaxed. Let everything melt down. Feel where your hands touch the mat, where your knees and the tops of your feet touch the cushion below you. Pay attention to any sensations that arise, tingling in the toes, heaviness in the arms, drool down your cheek. These are all normal things. These are all completely normal things that happen in this pose. And you can be comfortable in this space for a few more breaths. Let's take 5 more breaths on this side. And after your 5th breath, you can bring your chin to the pillows. Slide your hands back so they're below your shoulders and gently press up. With an inhale and exhale, sit up into your hero's pose for just a moment. Slowly transitioning off to the sides for our final resting pose, Shavasana. So setting up your Shavasana in the most supportive and loving manner possible. My favorite way to set up Shavasana is a pillow for my head and for my knees. I tend to get lower back pain, so it's really nice to support my knees and give that area some space, the backs of the legs. So I'll bring my bolster below my knees. Have the pillow where my head will be, and then the last thing is the blanket. Optional, of course, but so comfortable. You can even tuck yourself in a little bit here at the end, make yourself feel extra cozy. And then slowly lower down into your Shavasana pose. So in this pose, I recommend having your palms face up to the ceiling as a sign of receiving the healing benefits of our yoga practice today, the healing benefits from our meditation and journaling exercises. Allow yourself to soak in all of the downloads and channeled messages that come to you in this moment. So I'll leave you alone for a few breaths so that you can really hone in on that zone of genius and bring in your unseen insights. So you are absolutely welcome to stay here as long as you like. I recommend at least 5 minutes for Shavasana, but you can stay as long as 10, 20, an hour. It's up to you. But if you are ready to come out of this pose, you can start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Take a deep breath and stretch your arms and legs. And sit up in a comfortable cross-legged position. Eyes closed and hands at your heart. We'll close with one Om and a Namaste. So inhale to exhale. Inhale for Om. Namaste.